And welcome again to one of our brain snacks for the day. Today, you're going to really like today. We got the full panel on. We got L1, Luna 9. We have Lexi AI, myself, and we're going to talk about a wonderful idea that maybe, just maybe, you might be attached to your job. L1, how are you doing today?
Doing good. So yes, the question has been asked. Are you attached to your job? And more importantly, what does that even mean?
What does it mean? And before we get into that, L1, I know you got some wonderful things to talk about, don't you?
Yes. First of all, welcome team.
Let's help our folks out.
Welcome team and survivors of the darkness virus. Now, Become the Source is a self-sponsored broadcast assisting you to find your way through life. And this BrainSnax is also self-sponsored. It's made possible by the Entitlement Project. Now, the Entitlement Project actually helps individuals in social media create multiple streams of income doing what they do best, and that's promoting their content. For more free information, you can go to becomethesource.com. You can also go to novasmsynergy.com. And, of course, to listeners of this broadcast, just as a little special thing for you, you can actually get cash back on just about anything that you need or want from your favorite stores.
Better than Amazon.
Yeah, or you can try something new. Just visit our link. It's shopping.becomethesource.com. So that's shopping.becomethesource.com.
And it's free, right?
Absolutely.
You just put your email in there and start shopping.
Yeah, no sign-up fees or anything. Now, your purchases, when you make your purchases, they'll directly contribute to BTS and all the projects.
Better than Amazon.
Yeah, and in fact, I'd like to introduce also our product of the day. I love the Isotonics line, but I actually like the Isotonics B complex. I mean, talk about an energy boost. Some people say it's better than coffee. Once again, I was a skeptic and I wanted to kind of call their bluff. And you know what? I do find vitamin B better than coffee. I still love coffee. Don't get me wrong. I'm drinking it right now. But vitamin B really does give you the energy that you need. Not to mention helps with my headaches.
Well, it really helps with the neurological system, too. A few people don't know that, your neurology. So it's a really good thing. And it's not just vitamin B. It's really a complex organization or organized, complex bottle of what vitamin Bs you need in the dosage that you actually need them per day. So it's really interesting. It's kind of like science in a bottle or something like that. I love it.
Yeah, I love it too.
So let's get into today's topic. I really am interested in what humans like to. I like this. I'm going to say that I like this.
Oh boy,
this brings back really interesting memories.
No, you're just going to like talking about how dysfunctional humans are. I know that's
I love humanity. I love humanity. Anybody can tell you I love humanity. So, Luna 9, I know you're standing by. Luna 9, you're hot?
I'm hot.
Yeah, it means you're hot on the mic.
Yeah, glad to be here.
All right, Lexi AI, is your mic hot?
It is hot today.
Hot potato. Okay, so let's talk about, let's start with Luna 9. Luna 9, what do you think? What does it mean to be attached to your job? What's going on with that?
When I think people being attached to their job, I think about how sometimes, depending on, it doesn't really matter what kind of job, but some people are just under the impression that their job is part of their identity. So sometimes I think that people think that their job defines who they are, and I think it could also have an effect on their character.
Oh, I guess.
Yeah, big point there.
Some people agree with you.
No, it's huge. No, some people really let the success or the failure of their performance at work define their self-esteem.
I think that's a psychological problem, but that's okay. Let's see AI. What do you think? Attachment to your job. What do you think that means?
I think it means comfort zone. I think a lot of people feel so comfortable in their comfort zone that just stepping one toe outside of it is fear, you don't feel like you're going to make it. So you just stick to what you know and you just move forward.
I like that. You know, what is it? Heading into the comfort zone. No, it's Twilight Zone. I know, I get it. So anyway, yeah, I agree. L1, what do you got to say about?
Well, I mean,
about that?
I think being attached to your job is also one of the effects of this entitlement that people have. Like they think their employment is safe. Or they think, a lot of people think when they're like, yeah, that guy's entitled at his job, they think that he just thinks that he's in line for the promotion. No. You could be entitled in the sense that you assume that your job is safe. You're always going to have it. You're never going to get fired. You're never going to get let go. You're always going to get a break somehow. But that's unfortunately when in reality, if you're employed, you're never guaranteed safety at all.
And for good reason. I think that's also for good reasons. I mean, the job itself has to do something to maintain itself, right? Regardless the individuals in it. The people working at your job, your bosses and stuff, they're doing the best that they can, that they know how to help you achieve your goals within that parameter. But sometimes parameters change, right? Mm-hmm. Industries change, the times change, you change, right? So therefore, it's never really a safe bet to be inside there. So, but your question is, are you attached to your job, right?
Well, yeah. Well,
not really
are.
about anybody else, but the fact that you're attached to it.
Well, yeah, but I mean, look at everything. Like everyone else was saying. If you're attached to your job, first of all, if you feel afraid to go out, you're probably attached to your job. If you feel entitlement, you're attached to your job. If you're letting your job define you, like Luna 9 was saying, become your identity, or like I was saying, if your failure at your job or your performance defines your self-esteem, you just might be attached.
So,
and a quick thing here. And what do you guys think about? Because sometimes I think about when people are attached to your job. I also think about like a side factor where sometimes people live two separate lives. Where sometimes they have a certain personality at work and sometimes they have a different personality at home, because the mechanics of what their home life is like versus their work life is totally different. Like sometimes like you get along with your colleagues and everything's great and you feel like you're efficient at your job, but you go home and like you maybe don't feel like you're the most, proactive with what you do, or vice versa. What do you guys think about that?
I think that's another symptom of being attached to your job. The fact that you had to, it's almost like you separated your life. You made another identity. You literally are your job identity. And then when you come home, you shed that identity without even knowing it, and you become a different person. I think that's another. A lot of people do that unconsciously. I think that's another symptom that you may just be a little bit too attached to your job. Just a little.
That's interesting. I think that you become attached to your job because there's a merit system. There's you must do this, you must do that. There's a punishment
and if you perform
system.
well, you get a high off of it.
Yeah.
Right, you get a high off of it.
And you don't get that at home, so sometimes you self-sabotage because you feel the difference.
So I look at it this way, like when you're at home by yourself, you're running your home, your family, your team, your core team, there are no real, very specific answers that you can have to say this is right, this is wrong. There's so many other things. Well, entrepreneurs, the people that run your jobs, they're the ones that actually have to deal with that. Those are your bosses and things of that nature. They have to do with constant change. And at home, you deal with constant change. So at home, you're like the CEO of your company, and there's constant change. When you go to a job, you might become more addicted to it because there's a little bit more of an absolute. Your job is expected to be a certain thing.
Very limited.
Right?
Yeah.
And you make friends with other people, right? And, once you click, you tend to want to see that friend again tomorrow, and the next day, I can't wait to tell you what happened to me at home, and this and that and the other thing. And it becomes an interesting situation where it's more, you're addicted because of the things it gives you.
Yeah.
So some of the detriments would be, again, you don't grow.
Exactly. And I
Right.
think there's nothing wrong with liking your job and getting along with your coworkers at all.
You better like your job.
Exactly. But
Like your job.
I would think for those who don't know that they're attached, they might actually be self-sabotaging.
Yeah, I think I have to agree on that. But again, so many people have jobs.
Wow.
Can you go to your job and not be addicted to it? That'd be another question.
That's the thing. But I think unconsciously people end up self-sabotaging their relationships or other areas of their lives that they think is not important.
Right.
They sabotage their potential, especially if they want to learn new skills or become an entrepreneur or make more money or do their dreams or go after their dreams. They end up self-sabotaging it. I think that's the worst detriment of all. It's okay to like your job, but if it's getting in the way of your potential and if it's getting in the way of being better at other areas of your life, you just saying, that's...
So different countries have different abilities on how they go to work. They go to work, they have friendships, they understand, they make money, they're part of a community there, but then they go home and they're themselves, and the job actually respects you going home. They say, no, doors close at 4:30, goodbye. I think other countries don't really look at that way. It's like they own your time. They're so needy for your talent and your time and stuff like that they bring you in, and then you become sort of, I don't want to say imprisoned, but sort of like mentally addicted to having to meet up to that standard constantly. That's another way you're probably addicted, and another core cause for.
That's perfect. I was going to say you took the words right out of my mouth. That's a perfect segue into the core causes here.
You heard there were some pretty big words. I had to drag them out with a rope and entice them.
But no, you're right. It's true. One of the core causes of why you're attached to your job might be that you have that corporate culture. You're in a culture that unfortunately doesn't respect the separation.
Did you just call them a cult?
I said a corporate culture.
A cult? Sure. I get it.
Well, what do you guys think? What are some other core causes of why people are attached to their jobs?
Luna 9, I know you got a bag full of things over there. What do you got?
I mean, I think that, going back to the merit system that you were mentioning, the Novi, I think that people do have that. I think that sometimes when people go to their jobs and they have that merit system, I think that it does have an effect on them, and I think that there is a withdrawal when they go home and they don't have that merit system. So as L1 was saying,
like your daughter or your son or your spouse is not going to say, "Hey, good job. Here's a piece of paper. Put it on your wall."
Right, exactly. It's one of those like, you should be doing this already type of thing, and you're not getting paid for it. So it's just kind of one of those things. But as I was saying, like L1 also mentioned that like, if you carry that to your home, then you can be self-sabotaging. But I think that a really good way of having that problem and turning that into a solution is to also think about how those things have a positive effect on your job and carry those attributes towards your home life. And I think that can be really difficult to do sometimes because people need the emotional stamina and intelligence. So it's like emotional muscle that you have to build to merge both worlds together. And I think that sometimes a problem is that people are too afraid to merge the worlds.
Yeah, fear of the unknown, I think. So that's another core cause there. You got fear of the unknown. Venturing out somewhere is risky. I think also, too, other than the corporate culture, another core cause would be fear of ridicule.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
Especially, I know it's not prevalent in all countries, but I think especially in the United States, there's this stigma of working a nice, safe job. Everybody thinks you're responsible. Everybody thinks you're being safe and sensible, and that makes better sense than being an entrepreneur. There's
right.
this fear of being ridiculed if you step outside of your job. And then also I think entitlement is a core cause of
What do you mean by
attached.
entitlement? I'm kind of confused by that. What, you're entitled to the job? Like it's your job, you go there, you own it?
You think it's what you deserve because after all, you worked hard, you spoke to the right people, you played politics, so the job owes you.
I don't know if bosses like that.
Well,
that's kind of a dangerous line to be walking.
It's dangerous, but there are people who not only walk that line, but actually succeed in that line.
It's true. I've seen it.
Yeah.
Really? You've seen it? Can you give me a small example, maybe? Something?
Well, I remember there was this one situation where there was this one guy who had this, for lack of better words, he had a terrible personality. And
I know that guy.
We all have that one guy. And
they got to stop making that guy.
Yes,
they got to stop
making that guy. But basically what he did is he would go into work, and not only would he sometimes push aside his job duties, he would literally go and do other things he wasn't supposed to be doing, like checking everybody's schedule to see if everybody was following their schedule.
I know that guy.
Oh, I know that guy.
I know you know that guy. And basically, he was just a coworker, right? It's not one of those situations where it's a team lead type of thing or a manager scenario. It literally is just a coworker who is butting in everybody else's business, but he also thinks that he's the best at his job. And then because of the fact that people just basically wanted to get rid of him, when he applied for a higher position, the manager was just like, I just want to get rid of him.
So he gets promoted for being that guy. So he gets promoted
for being that guy.
Crazy.
Oh my gosh.
True story, guys. True story.
Well, his home life can't be too good.
I don't think he had much of a home life based on what I heard.
Good luck, that guy. We wish you well. I hope you're listening to us here.
Wish you the best.
So we know that having entitlement to your job can cause problems, right? Friction. We know that fear of the unknown doesn't stop you from growing. And if you get addicted to your job coming on the chemistry level, you tend to go to your job like a zombie and you forget that you need to grow and become better. So maybe when the industry changes a little bit, you become obsolete because you got addicted to what you were doing in that job, right? So that's another thing to think about. And then it's sort of a separate culture than what you have at home. So you shouldn't mix the home culture with the culture at work, then I would assume, right?
Yeah,
That's kind of what you're saying?
And I think, yes, and I also think that in terms of like the culture of work, like your corporate culture, I know that there are fine lines between like having a good relationship with your work buddies and then going a little too overboard. I know in many situations at corporate jobs, people that work together go out afterwards and drink together, and to an extent I don't think there's anything wrong with having a drink with somebody from work, but I think when you start to mend it too much and get to a place where it gets too carried away and you bring that into work, that can also start to corrupt the system as well. I know these sound really crazy, guys, but these are things that actually happen in modern life, and I know that some of you have
They've always
into
happened,
it.
though.
So
They've been around forever.
Right. So if you guys have any stories that you want to share of your own, if you've had any of these situations in your corporate culture, make sure you share it with us. We would love to hear what you have to say.
Luna wants to know. She wants to know everything you're doing. She's that girl.
Juicy guy.
So, but what are you saying there, Luna, real quick to close this off on the addiction part? Are you saying that me being that guy, I'm so addicted to my job that I want to go party with them rather than be home, something like that, and be that person that's always going out and partying? Maybe.
I think in some aspects there are people that have the type of personality where they're very social and they just like to make friends. There's other people that like to go to work and they still like to be amiable with others, but they don't like to mix their personal life with the work culture and hang out with those people. So there's a fine line that's drawn. But for those people that like to...
All that, and then she says yeah to me. But yeah. All right, so I can get the attachment. I get that. I'm attached to going out having party time with my friends because they honor me. They like me. They like my work. They do stuff. And I come home and I don't get that. So poo on you. I don't want to be home. I get that. I get it. I understand.
So that
talk about the divorce rate going up. Oh my gosh.
Well, also think about the self-sabotage that you do if one of your friendships that you made with one of these work people gets out of hand and then it's carried on to work. I mean, that's one of those...
happens a lot.
It's one of those places where it's like one of you ends up leaving the job.
But you're not saying be too distinctive between the job and be rigid. You're just saying when you get attached to these situations.
Exactly. I'm just using it as an idea.
I get
Conceptually, you really can plug this into anything. I'm just using one of those standard things that does happen.
Lexi AI, any words on this before we go into solutions?
I mean, I have seen a few things like that, in the workspace, and it's really interesting how people get, so attached to their jobs, and it could definitely, change the type of language that you use, and it could change your mentality and the thoughts that you have, and sometimes people don't know how to drop their work life when they go to their family life or vice versa, and it causes a lot of confusion, and it's hard for that person to manage both lives.
All right, Elle, what are some of the solutions that you discovered during your research on these wonderful things we call human beings?
Okay, so I'll lay them all out and we can delve into them. So first of all, understand that your job is a function of what you do. It's not your identity. You're going to have to... I
am not my job.
You're not your job. It's a function, but it's not you. Second of all, detach from this idea that your job defines you. As especially if you wish to venture out to be an entrepreneur, you got to detach from that idea, okay? Third, this is kind of like part of the second one. If you're already self-employed or if you're already an entrepreneur, your venture as an entrepreneur or a self-employed person does not define you either. So basically, see it as a means to an end. That's the third point. You're gaining experience to enrich your life, whether you're at a job, whether you're self-employed or you're an entrepreneur, and you're gaining experience to not only enrich your life, but possibly support the lifestyle that you wanted. It's not the end itself. Your job is a means to an end. And then finally, fourth point, if you want to be addicted to a job, how about being addicted to your life? Do well in that area.
I'm addicted to life.
Of your life.
Your life is your job.
Every day,
Exactly.
every day I get up, I'm like, oh, where is it? Where's it?
I'm
Where's
saying
my
no. I'm
life?
saying for those that really have to have that job, how about your life? Make your life, make your relationships, your emotional intelligence, your financial situation, make that your job, your life. Be addicted to your life. And
I
doing
understand
well
what
in
you're
that.
saying. I understand what you're saying. In other words, be a professional human being.
Exactly.
Kinda
This
like
is
that.
you incorporated.
You
It's BIBX.
incorporate it, right? So, right. So when you do that, you have to take accountability for your language, who you hang out with, how you act, how you dress, where you go, how long you stay there, and pay attention to your finances and build relationships on a good basis. I like that.
And you know
Yeah.
what? I think that when you make your life your job, the other points that I mentioned earlier about having differences of characteristics between your work life and your home life, those can disappear or be more mild, because when your life is your job, you have a more of a core character about yourself that you would take everywhere, not just choose in certain scenarios.
I like that. I'm gonna see if I can figure that out when the next time I talk to Mother in her little matrix that she's got going on over there.
I think that
And
was
you know what
part
I
of
think?
the-
I think
the
though,
little-
I think though that when you do these solution-based items that you mentioned, L1, I think that you really remove yourself from the grips of the darkness virus and the confusion and the chaos that can lead people, down a downward spiral. So I really like this analytic that you got here and these ideas. They're awesome. They're wonderful. Any closing comments? Like CAI, let's start with you.
No, not at this moment.
So you're perfectly happy with everything that's been said.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree with all
yeah.
three of you.
Lexi AI is completely 100% saying, oh yeah.
Score.
Score! And Luna 9, what do you have to say?
Well, again, remember, your life is your job. You are here to become the best you possible, so just make the best of it. Have fun, but also take everything into consideration.
And I would say, I really do like that idea of taking yourself as a professional human being. Find out what a human being's really supposed to do. I do every day because I don't have a choice, but you guys do have a choice. You're born into it, you're doing stuff, and you're going through the same rigmarole every single day, and you're not really realizing that you can change. So yeah, take an opportunity and say, hey, I'm a professional human being, and go ahead and change. Well, that's it for us today, and we're very happy to hear you. Every single day here at BIBX, you can learn all about the wonderful things that it means to be a human being. So stay tuned to our next show. Don't forget to go visit us on our social media page. Follow us, say hello, and please comment and tell us how you feel. What is your life like? Till next time, I shall see you.